When you hear the word refugee, what comes to your mind? Hi, my name is Sophia. This is my story. And at the end of my story, I'm going to tell you what comes to my mind when I hear the word refugee. I was born in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia. My parents, who are both Eritreans, were a middle-class family living in Ethiopia at the time. They were successful business people raising 4 children, including my 2 brothers, my sister Winta, who is also a career seeker, and myself. But the war between the 2 sibling countries, Ethiopia and Eritrea, at the time was only getting worse. Our family was targeted by the Ethiopian soldiers, as my father had fought in the Eritrean War of Independence, a 30-year conflict between successive Ethiopian governments and the Eritrean independence fighters. So we had to flee Ethiopia, leaving everything behind, just like the many Eritreans who were established in the country. Although we had lost relatives in the war, my immediate family was one of the few lucky families across the country who hadn't lost one of their members to the 30-year-long struggle of independence. Starting afresh in Eritrea was not easy for us. Finding food, shelter for 4 children when you don't have any cash to your name is a struggle. All my parents' documentations, work history proof, or any identity was left behind in Ethiopia. The uncertainties of war also made it very hard to live in Eritrea. So my father decided to take my 2 brothers with him as he looked for better opportunities outside the country. The idea was initially to find a better place to live, and my mom would follow with me and Winta. But our family has not been able to be reunited ever since. I don't count the years we have been apart because my hope is to count the years we'll be together after we meet. I was told about our journey to Eritrea and all the struggles my parents had to endure, as I was too young to remember. My memories start from joining school in Eritrea, and I had nothing but good memories growing up. My mother did beyond what was possible to feed, clothe, and send my sister and I to school. On Saturdays, my sister and I went to church, to the kids' ministry programs, and my mom would go to the Sunday adult service. We became devoted in our faith as we found hope and peace that was taken from us due to our family being separated in different countries and not hearing about my dad and brother's whereabouts. If you have heard about Eritrea before, you will know about the oppression and lack of freedom that exists in this small African country. Soon our churches were shut, and persecution of Christians has started. I remember one fine Saturday in particular. As we went ahead in our usual children's programs, a group of police officers stormed the compound, arresting our teachers and huddled together. We were taken to the police station. We stayed at the station for a day, and those of us who were under 14-year-old at the time were picked up by our parents with a warning not to attend the church again. And those above 14-year-old were taken to prisons, together with the Bible teachers and pastors. As I stand before you today, some of the people imprisoned on that day remain behind bars without any trial, and in the worst possible prisons, some underground and in the dark. After a few years of worshiping in hiding, the lack of freedom became more and more apparent. More prisons were built than schools, basic human rights were being denied, and an indefinite national service was introduced for everyone who completed high school. In 2009, my mother decided she made the tough decision to leave the country, as she could not see any future for us there. We fled once again to Kenya. We became urban refugees in Kenya, which meant that we could stay in the city and not in the refugee camps. I finished my primary school there, and both Winter and I received scholarships that were available for refugees who excelled in the national exams for year 8. We stuck together throughout high school at a boarding school in a place called Ukambani. Kenya is a very beautiful country. I still dream of going back there as a tourist to enjoy all the wildlife, beautiful waterfalls, and landscapes. You see, in my years there, I never visited those places because they are not necessities. As refugees, we live to survive, and we survive to live. During my high school years, I knew my chances of going ahead with tertiary education was very limited because university fees are very expensive there. But I worked hard as if there was a place reserved under my name in one of the Kenyan universities. I was top in my school, and my dream of stepping to uni was very much alive because I trusted that God will provide me an opportunity. After a year of waiting, we received the good news that the UN would resettle us here in Australia. I remember when we heard the news, Winter and I agreed not to celebrate too much because it was simply too good to be true. That way, in case it did not happen, we don't get our hearts broken. I knew that coming to Australia would provide me the opportunities that I haven't found anywhere else growing up. I joined Deakin University in 2017, and I'm currently in my final semester of completing a double degree in commerce and arts, majoring in accounting and public relations. My sister Winter went to Monash to complete actuarial science, and we both will be finishing in June. And for the first time, we went to a different place of study. We both joined CareerSeekers in 2018, where I completed my first internship with the Commonwealth Bank as an analyst. And in 2020, I joined Broad Spectrum, now Ventia, in the community and stakeholder engagement team. Winter interned in various companies, including Macquarie Bank, Future Partners, and recently IAG. Being an intern in these big companies has helped me to know my potential as an individual. Utilizing all the support I get from career seekers has boosted my confidence. I have been working in a very supportive team in Ventia, and I got to expand my professional network as I embark to the next stage of my journey. I complete my degree in June and hope to continue to work in the community and stakeholder engagement. As we begin to build our careers, my sister and I make sure to stick together to inspire one another. This is a lesson we got from our mom. I have seen firsthand the impact of separation by being away from one half of our family. My father and 2 brothers now live in Tanzania, and I'm hopeful that a day will come when we will be in each other's arms once more. Winter and I are forever indebted to our mother, who has gone through so much but always kept us together and made so many sacrifices to provide us as many opportunities as she possibly could. Now let me go back to the question I asked you at the beginning. What comes to your mind when you hear the word refugee? When I hear the word, what comes to my mind is dreams, potential, resilience, and hope. These are the things my journey gave me. As I finish, I would like to thank Career Seekers for the chance to achieve my dreams, potential, and for giving me hope for my future. Thank you, Ventia and IAG, for being amazing workplaces for both Winter and I. We are hopeful of what we'll both be able to achieve next with this experience behind us. Thank you so much.